Oh, I don't know how much impact I had on the profession. I think I had more impact on readers, frankly, because I was able to explain how things work on the inside and why it comes out this way. I went into the sausage making and explained what was wrong with the sausage in the process, if there was something wrong. The issues that I think most concerned readers and that I spent most of my energy on, one, unattributed sources, which from the day I got there, I found that this was the single biggest problem that readers had with the believability of what was in the newspaper, not just the Times, but in any newspaper. And I wrote about it several times about how readers don't believe the unattributed source. They think that that's the writer making something up. And I found out that sometimes it was the writer making something up. But even if the writer doesn't make something up, the writer can always find somebody to say what he wants to have said. So it's the equivalent of making something up. You know, I'm not going to get the guy who's going to describe the sky as blue. I want to find the guy who describes the sky as green because I think the sky is green. That was issue number one. Issue number two was false balance. And this was probably the one that if there's any legacy I have from this job, there's something that since has become known apparently as Okrent's law, at least it appears on Wikipedia. Okrent's law, as it's been quoted, is sometimes the pursuit of balance leads to imbalance because sometimes something is true. So if you say the sky is blue, the conventional so-called objective journalism says, well, some people think it's green, so you have to represent them as well. Well, in fact, the sky is blue. It is not green, and we don't need to represent their arguments. Now, we need to acknowledge that they exist, but we do not have to give them equal weight. And I think that the best example at the time was creationism, creation science. Today, it would be climate science. I think that it is absolutely appropriate for newspaper writers to declare that the climate is endangered by global warming, which is caused by human beings. Some people believe otherwise. Yeah, acknowledge them, even quote them, but say they're wrong, because sometimes something is true. And the third thing that I think, I wouldn't say dominated, but that was always at the surface, always present at the time that I was public editor, and remains so today, is any writing about the Middle East. That whatever you write about the Israeli-Palestinian issue is going to enrage readers on either side of the issue. They will not recognize that there is another side of the issue, and the number of friends on both sides of the issue who would come at me about the Times' prejudice, the Times' obvious bias, because it says here, and why doesn't it say this, and why doesn't it say this, and why doesn't it say this? There was no way of satisfying these people. And I did take one strong position, which the Zionists, the pro-Israeli, I don't like using the term pro-Israeli because I think I'm pro-Israeli, but I hate what the Israelis are doing, the Israeli government is doing. The strong Zionist, the AIPAC people were very pleased when I said that we need to call terror terror, that attacks on unarmed civilians or civilians who are not active in direct conflict is terrorism. So when a bus is blown up in Tel Aviv, that's a terrorist. It's not a militant act, it's a terrorist act. So they were thrilled by that. And then when 3 months later, I wrote something that about the coverage of the West Bank, then suddenly I was a louse. And the same could have been said about the anti-Zionist lobby, if that's the term for it. They hated whatever I wrote if it didn't conform to their view of the world.